Welcome, everybody, to Mark It Down Live. As always, so happy to have you alongside me for this Wednesday. This is not my normal backdrop. No, this is not my golf studio this week. Once e-learning got done up in Illinois, me and my family decided, hey, let's go somewhere that we love, and we stumbled upon Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and that's fitting, isn't it? The PGA Tour is going to be returning here in about 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, PGA Tour returns in 15 days for the Charles Schwab Challenge, which I'm really excited about. I know you are too. Matter of fact, I got my schedule. I'm going to be doing PGA Tour radio for the Hilton Head event and then PGA Tour Live for both Travelers and Rocket Mortgage. So I'm excited to call the action once again. Also got something new. My hair looks a little shorter. It's because I got my wife, Amy, to be my new stylist. She did a great job, I feel like. And we're actually about to celebrate 15 years of marriage here in a couple of days. And who else would you put your trust into than your wife to cut your hair? I'm excited for the interview today. Got a rookie on the PGA Tour, a 34-year-old rookie. So he's been around the world trying to get to this level, and what a bizarre year it's been. Chris Baker, we have a nice conversation hearing about his status and what he's gone through, especially talking about his grouping with Tiger Woods on that Saturday at Farmers. We get into that and a whole lot more. So please engage with me during the interview. Would love to chat with you and comment during the interview, so please use that. I'd love to talk to you while it's going on, but enjoy the interview, and I'll talk to you on the other side. I got with me today a PGA Tour rookie, a fellow Midwesterner, grew up in Indiana, decided, though, to just skip right over Illinois and go way over to Iowa. The Iowa State Cyclone. Chris Baker, thanks for being on Mark It Down Live this week.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Mark.
How's everything been going for you with this quarantine? You now live in Jacksonville Beach.
Yeah, I live in Jacks Beach. Quarantine, obviously, golf has been somewhat fortunate in the fact that a lot of golf courses have been open through all of this. We've kind of, I think that's kind of a good thing for people's minds. I mean, just to get out and be able to move outside, because the Corona situation it's a scary situation, but it's a mentally tough thing for a lot of people, and I think people are struggling with that. So golf's been a great outlet, not only for me, but I think for other people to, go out and play some golf and get outside.
We see some different strategies watching the guys play just recently, Rory McIlroy, Dustin Johnson. We heard Dustin took 60 days off, and I've heard other people, our friend Peter Malnati, he's grinding away, practicing a lot. What's been your strategy the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting time for me, because it's probably the longest break I've ever had as a professional golfer. So I've got a lot of things done. I've done some workouts, my body just needed some rest more than anything. I mean, it's going. So I was able to, sit down and give myself some time to, breathe, I guess. I found myself, I guess, after the Players Championship, I wasn't in the tournament, but I found my body just almost seized up because it was running almost on adrenaline. But yeah, just getting healthy. Played a lot of golf. I like to tinker and try things with equipment. So I've had some good fun with that, with just stuff at my house here. And I think I've got a lot of good things accomplished. I'll be ready to go back when we get to go.
What about gym workouts? I mean, the gyms have been closed. Have you figured out a different way to work out?
Yeah, gym's been closed. I mean, outside, I've been up in Columbia, South Carolina a lot. Girlfriend's up there. So we go take the dog for walks twice a day, a couple miles each time. So that's just some good low, nothing really going to hurt yourself there. I've got some bands at the house, just some stuff indoors, but the gyms being closed has definitely changed my workouts, just because I struggle working out at home. I like to go to the gym, physically go there, and that kind of gets my mind in a better place to do a workout. So, but it's been a learning experience. You kind of learn what works and how you can make things work, not in a conventional route. So it's been cool.
There's energy involved in going to a gym, you're right, versus at home. There's always something else to do, and so I understand that for sure. And we're going to get to your rookie year and how kind of bizarre it's been with this kind of lockdown. But let's go back to how you got there first, because you played a bunch of mini tours after college and the Challenge Tour, Corn Ferry Tour for a few years. You've got to have some pretty interesting travel stories, especially when you were
traveling all over the world. You got any, and some favorite places that you visited?
Gosh, I've been a lot of places. I mean, I'd say the craziest, Russia and Kazakhstan. I mean, that's the farthest I've been away from home. That was in 2010 on the Challenge Tour. So that was interesting. But yeah, I think just through all the travels and all that, it's been a great way to learn, and it's been a bumpy road. I mean, some people make it to the tour and get there quickly and have success, and I feel like I will have success. But I think the years that I've played has been it'll be a reason why I'll have success. So yeah, the Corn Ferry Tour I was not on that tour since 2011. Great spot to come up, and then finally last year, I finished 26th on the year-end points. Top 25, get your car.
So
close. 26th, yeah, right. So that was a tough one to swallow. I mean, and then they had the playoffs, the Corn Ferry playoffs, and fortunately, was able to muster back some confidence, I guess, and get it done there. So it was an exciting way, and glad to get it done.
You were being humble about that. You had a great final round there at Victoria National, and a clutch about 8-foot putt maybe on, or the 10 feet, whatever it was, on 18 to get your car.
Yeah. No, it was that last day was one of those crazy days because I had a friend of mine, actually, Gary Christian. I'm sure you know him. He's a commentator out there, and he comes up to me and says, "Hey, Chris," he's like, there's days and there's times when it's just your time. He goes, today, it's your time, right? So that was cool of Gary to come up and say that to me. And it really was a day where I didn't have any anxiety, no forward. I wasn't looking forward at all. Unfortunately, on the 17th hole, I made a bad decision, hit a bad tee shot through the fairway, ended up making double, 3-putted for double. 18, now I'm a little bit rattled. 18 at Victoria Nationals, it's not an easy tee shot, downhill, water right. Kind of hit the same shot I hit the prior hole, just knowing I was going to hit a little draw. But there's water right, so you can't really aim too far right. So I hit a draw into the left bunker, and I think I had 195-ish out of the left bunker to the pin and hit a great 6-iron. Really, really, it was an awesome shot. So probably 35, 40 feet. And I just remember hitting that putt, and I hit it, and I was like, Chris, you could have just hit that just a little bit harder, buddy, because I left myself about 8 feet from the hole. And like you said, it went in the hole. It was a great putt. I wouldn't say I felt great over that putt, but it went in. So it worked out awesome.
Like Gary said, sometimes it's just your time and you took advantage. We played together a couple rounds at Victoria National 2 years ago on the Corn Ferry Tour. Right. And by saying that the 18th tee shot at Victoria National is not easy is an understatement. It's one of the most difficult tee shots I've ever seen. So kudos to you getting through at that point. And then you get on the PGA Tour. It's your rookie year. Okay, you play 13 events starting in the fall, and you're kind of going along, and then you get the news, obviously, that we're going to lock down. We don't know how long. Right. What a bizarre turn of events. And there had to be a lot of uncertainty for you there for a few weeks, wondering what's my status going to be like. The tour gave you some pretty good news, though. Yeah,
as it turned out, I think it's going to work out just fine. But yeah, obviously very, very strange. I mean, I played 8 events in the fall. I wouldn't say I wasn't ready for it. You know, I just wasn't mentally, physically. I was tired. I was just wasn't good. And you know, January started and came back, played 5 events this calendar year. I played some good golf. Nothing great result wise, but played some good golf. And then, yeah, players happens and they cancel the final round. And all of a sudden, everyone's just like wondering, okay, so what are we going to do? And, you know, it's at the end of the day, you can't really look forward. You just have to wait for someone to make a decision, because I'm glad I'm not in charge. PGA Tour, they're doing a great job talking and listening and following directions and recommendations. So they're going to do the right thing. And as it turns out, I'll have status this remaining year, and then obviously the following year. The remaining season, I'll be able to improve my status for next year. But like you said, the unknowns, I mean, I don't even know when my next PGA Tour start will be. But at the end of the day, I will have a start, and I will be ready to play when that time comes.
And you won't get any worse, right? They're still going to keep that Corn Ferry category in the same spot. You just could get a little bit better if you play well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it could get worse just in the fact that there's going to be some guys from the Korn Ferry Tour that finished top 125. So that 125 category, which is historically 125 players, it could be 140 players, right? So there could be more guys. So then those guys are in. They're ahead of me. I can't reshuffle ahead of them. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get some starts. I'm going to play well, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, the uncertainty there. At least you're going to play some. Yes, it's tough. I know you want to get going at Colonial, but you're not going to get in that field. You'd like to play Harbour Town, not going to get in that field. Travelers looks pretty good for you, I'm assuming. So what are you going to do? Are you not sure about Travelers even?
No, Travelers.
Are you going to play the Korn Ferry Tour then?
Yeah, I am. I'm going to play the first two here. I mean, I'm stay in my own apartment house here, and it's a home game, right? Like,
yeah.
I
think I had 2 events right there at TPC.
TPC, the Valley Course, and they have one at the World Golf Village, which from Jacksonville is it's 45 minutes. It's great.
Oh yeah, you got to do that then. That's good. And even Vijay Singh is likely going to play there in the first event. You're going to kind of go needle him and see if you can get a little practice round. Learn from a Hall of Famer.
Vijay is I played with 9 holes with Vijay actually at the Honda in the practice round. So I talked to Vijay a lot. I enjoy Vijay. I think it's gonna be a cool thing. I think it's gonna be great for. I mean, obviously there's both sides. You can look at it from both angles. You know, someone coming up, and then obviously Vijay's position. But Vijay lives here. He wants to play. He's going to play in Harbour Town. He wants to be competitive. I mean, he was former #1 in the world. He deserves the right to play in the Korn Ferry event, and I'm excited for him and for the Korn Ferry Tour. I think it's going to be cool just for the fact that they're in Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra. It's their home, so I think it's going to be a great couple of weeks.
Certainly going to get more media just interested in that event because Vijay's playing. They're going to want to see what he's doing, and therefore then some other guys are going to shine. And it's going to be great to have him alongside you. But yeah, you've probably seen him around quite a bit there at TPC Sawgrass, where you could get to practice quite a bit. And what an incredible practice facility that is. But going back to your rookie year, right? There had to be a couple of moments in the fall. Now, yeah, you're rubbing elbows with the guys at TPC, so you see some of these guys. Was there a moment in a locker room where you're changing your shoes next to a legend or going out and playing, or was it just smooth sailing starting out there at the Greenbrier?
Yeah, the fall series is – a lot of people say that the PGA Tour season doesn't really kind of start until January, just in the fact that the fall series is such a quick transition from the Korn Ferry Tour that you almost don't even have a time to recognize that you're on the PGA Tour. It's just – I went from Indiana straight to the Greenbrier. I didn't have any time. I had the PGA Tour orientation, then straight to tee it up. And it's the PGA Tour. It's where I wanted to play. It's the best place in the world to play golf. But it just happens so fast. You just don't have any time to recognize what's actually happening. But I would say starting in January in Sony, coolest experience for me was, in San Diego playing with Tiger Woods on that Saturday. So that was my PGA Tour moment. Okay, here, this is what I've been working for. This is what I've been dreaming of for years. So that was my wow, I'm here moment, I guess. Yeah. Yeah,
you tweeted about being pumped when you saw the tee time, and not just with Tiger Woods, but with a fellow rookie, Tyler McCumber. So here you got 2 rookies playing alongside Tiger Woods, who's won 8 times at Torrey Pines. How was that experience? Did he talk to you? What did you guys talk about during the round? And how was it to see your game measured up against a legend?
Yeah, Tyler's a good friend. He lives here in Jacks Beach, Ponte Vedra with me as well. Local guys. We're good buddies. Playing with Tiger was, it was neat to have 2 rookies and someone that's, the best of all time. Just to watch his golf game was amazing. I learned a lot from that day. I didn't play that great, but at the end of the day, I learned more from that day watching him play golf, being around the crowds. Torrey Pines South, that's Tiger Woods' golf course. If there's a golf course for Tiger Woods, so he's had more success than anybody, and it was really cool. We just asked, talk some small talk golf stuff, and he was very helpful. Joe LaCava, his caddy, was very helpful and friendly, and good friend Blaine McAllister here. He actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, go up to Joe first thing and say hi," and say Blaine says hi. So they were good buddies, and it was super. It was easy. as easy as playing with the best player in the world could be, right? He was over the top, welcoming and helpful whenever he could, and very complimentary as well. So.
I like that about golf too. Very it makes you feel comfortable, like you were saying. I played with him a few times too, and it's funny how nervous I was on the first tee. I could barely tee my golf ball up. And it's a Thursday at Bay Hill. It's like,
right.
But you're playing alongside a guy that you feel like you should try to impress. And then I kind of remind myself, you know what? I don't need to impress him. No matter what I do today, it's really probably not going to impress him.
No.
He does it better than I do. So let's just have fun with it. And like you said, be observant. Of course, we're in our zone trying to play golf, but be observant and you can learn from him.
For sure. And I learned a lot that day. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, you grew up in Indiana, so you probably played quite a bit in the snow. Any tips for, Midwesterners like myself? I did it as well. Might not have a simulator to do this, but any tips like when you grew up, you went snow on the ground, what could you do indoors in December to kind of get your game ready for the next season?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm actually sitting on my rollout putting green right now. So that's simple, right? You can get a little putting green and hit some putts. And that's been something that I've focused on during this, COVID quarantine, because obviously moving outside the golf course and not much going on. You can't really travel like we're used to. So the putting green and just working on some alignment and your stroke, I mean, that's to me is one of the easiest things to kind of do. And you don't even have to have a putting green. Just get, if you have tile floors, right, you could, set your feet parallel to those tile floors, and then just set your putter square to your feet. And I think just something to give yourself a reference point. Being square to the target is huge. I think that's something that's very simple to do, and you can do it anywhere.
That's great advice, yeah, because you get everything locked in and make it a better chance to be able to hit it online if you're square. While Mark It Down Live, I also like to get a swing thought from all of our guests, and I'm wondering if Chris Baker has something that he goes to on a regular basis, maybe when things are down, and you're like, oh, that's got to work because that's worked before.
Right. Yeah. I would say like a swing thought for me. If I'm like right now, like if I'm struggling a little bit, I traditionally kind of fall back through the impact, right? Okay. So I would kind of feel like my nose is kind of at the golf ball. I turn back away from it, and I keep my body at least staying forward and moving through the shot instead of falling back.
And you actually think about your nose?
I think, well, just that as a reference point, right? Like it's not so much of the nose exactly, but it's just like I kind of that nose just stays there, and that'll keep your head centered over the ball. I think that's a cool idea. I mean, I don't think you don't want to sway back, right? But you don't want to sway forward. So I think staying centered is crucial, right? And then I think what else do I do? I mean, I also like to kind of do a little preset hinge kind of thing, right? To kind of you set up square at your target, and then I like to almost feel like the wrists almost hinge back to get that club parallel with the floor, and then kind of give yourself a little reference point in your left hand. You want to see kind of two knuckles, right? And that golf club being toe up at that point, or it kind of matches your spine angle, right?
Right, kind of.
That's kind of, so you kind of just turn that little hinge. See, now that's too open, right?
And you're talking really not turning your shoulders. You're just keeping the hands, everything square. It's really just a hinge.
Yeah, so like that, right? That just that little hinge. Like almost the club starts, you hinge back a little bit, and then from there, like now we're just turning. Keep that club, now just turn. There we go.
How good is that right there?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's simple. I mean, golf's not simple, right? But you can make it simple in your own mind and in your own ways, right? Like you don't swing the golf club like me. I don't swing the golf club like you. So I think you just got to figure out what works and go out and have fun.
It's a fun journey, just exploring. I agree. You never know when you're going to stumble upon.
It's great to I think the best part about golf is to kind of go out there, and obviously you want to go and have fun, but like almost have a cause and effect kind of thing, right? I did this and it caused that, right? So then, okay, you learn from that and you do something else and it does this. And I think you can kind of put it all together in your mind. And if you go play that seventh hole right behind you, the seventh hole at Pebble, let's say the wind's pumping off the right, maybe in your learnings, you'll figure out what the best shot to do under that very stressful situation is.
Great advice. We're listening to something Nick Faldo talked about recently. He talked about back in his heyday going out with like 20 golf balls and marking and going with 10, say, I'm going to try to hit this one really low, and then the other 10 really high. And then all of a sudden he noticed a pattern. He noticed that, if I remember right, the high ones, if he was trying to hit high, he hit left. The low ones, he hit to the right. So then all of a sudden he starts thinking, okay, well, if I've got trouble, down the left side, I'm not going to try to hit a high one because my tendency is to hit it to the left.
Exactly.
And you're right, that cause and effect, if you can take that with you and just be aware of that, it's going to help you next time it really counts.
100%.
Chris Baker, thank you so much. I hope you get back on a PGA Tour event soon, but if not, play well on the Korn Ferry Tour. So any money you make out there is going to help. I know it's a lot less, but you know what? You keep shooting 67, 66s, they can't keep you away.
Great spot to play golf, no matter where you're at, right?
All right, Chris Baker,
Mark.
thanks so much. All right, peace.
Take care.
Very revealing from Chris Baker. The main thing for me was talking about PGA Tour status. So great that he's going to have his same status next year, that he didn't lose that because of everything that's going on. And I will say, when I first got on the PGA Tour, people thought that once you get your PGA Tour card, you're in every event. That's not the way it works. You've got to work your way up to get in those majors, world golf events, the invitationals, all that kind of stuff. You don't exactly know your schedule. When I was a rookie back in 2003, I got into, I believe, 4 events on the West Coast, which was actually pretty good. A lot of times you only get into 2 or 3, and then they reshuffle you. So always keep that in mind when you're watching some of these guys that are just getting out. Every opportunity is just so gold. I think of guys like Victor Hovland. Guy came right out of Oklahoma State. He was in that category, and then he won in Puerto Rico, an opposite field event. Chris Baker is going to be, looking for that opportunity, that next opportunity. He's going to play a couple Korn Ferry events just to keep his competitive juices flowing. I mean, he's excited to get back into competition. A lot of these guys will be. And then get on the PGA Tour eventually for some events later this summer. But it's really cool that he's got his status next year. So he's kind of got a 2-for-1. He can certainly take advantage of that. Reminds me, too, about expectations. A lot of these guys are going to be coming out after 2-3 months off. And that's pretty rare for a lot of the guys. It was fine for me. I grew up in Wisconsin. A lot of cold weather. I had basically 4 to 6 months off. But I know I came out with very low expectations. A lot of times played really well because I had more conservative targets, happened to roll a few putts in. Before you know it, things were working out for me. Wonder what you guys think. Let me know on Twitter or Instagram. Who do you think is going to come out strong? Who's going to curb those expectations and use them to their advantage in order to compete well here on the PGA Tour? Chris talked about a couple of things golf related. First of all, I love that thing about lining up on the tile there for his putting, getting square, doing something like that away from the golf course will only help once you get there. In terms of his golf swing, he talked about trying to stay centered. I like that, how he would pick, for him it was his nose, but it could be something else, that he picks some object on his body to keep that in the same place in space. So when he would be swinging, he said his tendency is to maybe fall back on the way through. So he'd be thinking about his nose and just trying to keep that where it is as he makes a swing. I think that's great because if you're staying right there and turning around that, better chance to hit it solid. Peter Jacobson, one of my early guests on this show, talked about the importance of kind of swinging around that circle. He also talked about that early hinge in his wrists. It's amazing. It's a pretty simple drill. You just kind of hinge it where you want it, and then you turn to the top. It's amazing how it gets in the right position. You can hit golf balls like that. You can take it to the top, stop, feel it, and bring it on down. Great advice from Chris Baker. And I loved that kind of little psychology nugget that he talked about when he was at the Korn Ferry Finals, the last event, with a chance to get his PGA Tour card for the very first time. And one of my fellow announcers, a guy I work with on PGA Tour Live, Gary Christian, gave him some great insight, saying, Chris, sometimes it's just your day. And that's going to be your mark it down today. I'm going to leave you with that. Mark it down. Sometimes it's just your day. If you go with that attitude and that perspective into every day of your life, you're going to be looking for the good. You're going to be looking for those opportunities. And then you have that freedom and that sense of calm, that Chris Baker talked about and he was able to utilize to get himself to the PGA Tour. Hope you enjoyed the interview. If you missed any of it, you can catch it on my YouTube channel, Mark It Down Golf, or catch any of my previous interviews. Sign up there. I'd love to send you a notification that I've dropped a new video. So you all have a great week. Thanks for tuning in to Mark It Down Live. Look forward to talking to you next week when I've got a fantastic guest, a guy who's on the Player Advisory Council, went to East Carolina University, and he's been on the PGA Tour now for 5 years. He's really making a name for himself. Harold Varner will be my guest next week. Tune in for that. I'll see you next Wednesday.